XRP continues to see extreme volatility with moves to the upside, moves to the downside, and liquidity being extracted from the market. And well, we are seeing some interesting things when it comes to that price action. So today we're going to be breaking down the small, medium, and potentially long-term price expectations that I have for XRP in the next few days, weeks, months, etc. So as I get into today's video, smash that like button if you're new, subscribe, and let's jump into the charts and take a look at what's going on. So XRP, more volatility, right? So here we have XRP paired up with USDT on the 1 hour Binance chart. What I've been talking about for a while essentially is kind of coming to fruition. Yesterday we were talking about the idea and the potential for a short position on XRP. And well, this would have triggered beautifully right here on the candle that was, what's that, 1800 hours yesterday. We did wick up slightly higher on the 1900, but ultimately we can see the market here kind of respected everything and starts to move on down. Some great profit being made already. Resistance currently on the 50 SMA coming through the chart here. The blue line is the 50 EMA current support, but we are looking to see this thing break down just a little bit more. Now, the problem that I have here and why I potentially would think of closing this trade a little bit earlier was basically decreasing volume. The decreasing volume here is showing us that there's weakness to this move to the downside. So we could potentially take some of this profit off the table right now. I know it hasn't quite reached its take profit, but they were in profit and the market's changed a little bit from those expectations. I still think we're going to work our way down deeper, but before we get there, we might see more volatility, so we might as well take advantage of that as well. So my approach will be to close this trade and potentially, get into a new trade a little bit later down the line. If we turn the volumes off and we bring in the stochastic RSIs, you can see that we are, I click the right button, you can see that we're progressing to the downside. We've still got some room though, so we can see more volatility. I do think we'll hit target, but not before we probably bounce back up again, meaning that we can take this profit and re-enter the short at a later time and then continue this move to the downside. Okay, the 200 EMA is also an interesting point, coming in at 58.32, and our targeted range was actually 57.97. So again, we can see here that my take profit is actually a lot higher than that. So, for the most part, actual take profit would be at the 58.64. So we should find great support in that area. I still think that it's probably worth closing the trade rather than continuing it. But, again, that's just because I'm more risk adverse than most standard traders. But, things have changed a little bit. But we still have some more room to the downside. So it's not the end of the world if we want to hold it and then wait for these things to take profit. But ultimately, I think that this one is potentially going to be a little bit tricky, a little bit troublesome. So I would close it myself. Okay, with all that being said, I'll delete it off the chart so we don't have to talk about it anymore, and we'll talk about those next opportunities because, of course, we do think that there is going to be some significant opportunities here for XRP, right? So we are looking for these moves to the downside. My targeted range is 57.34 to 57.97. That hasn't changed. That is kind of where we are heading. As you can see, if I zoom out at this is a big triangular ledger pattern. We rallied up nicely as we were kind of talking about. Did go up a little bit higher than our expected ranges. We were initially looking at this one, basically between 59.59 to 60.44, which of course we would have taken profit on our long at that point. It did rally up a little bit higher, and this would have been a great short in position after we saw this kind of reaching its consolidation and failing to push up any higher. Could have gone short here, which we were talking about, and of course the little rally up into our range, and then this range also being 60.37 to 60.69 short from here as well as we were talking about, and we're finding that we're kind of wedging ourselves in between the 50 SMA and the 50 EMA. So the price action still remains very volatile. We're seeing pumps and we're seeing dumps. And ultimately, my next move, I think, is the one down towards our lower trend line, 57.34 to 57.97. But before we get there, we're going to probably see a little bit more volatility. My concern here is that we actually test that upper trend line before we move down, hence why I think it's probably worth closing that trade, because we would get stopped out if that is the case. And the reason for this is we can see a potential three-wave move like this, rallying, taking us up into that upper area. So I want to be a little bit cautious as things and data changes. My approach to this will be close that trade and wait for the next one. Better to lock in some profit than not. You could also, of course, just move your stop loss down into profit so you don't lose any money. These are plenty of options. So As we kind of look at this, we are looking for bigger breaks to the downside because this is a continuation pattern that we find ourselves in, and we are likely to continue our moves to the downside. Ultimately, we are looking for 51 to 52 cents. This hasn't changed. We've been talking about that for a while. That's actually easier to see on the large time frames. But before we get there, I do want to review smart money concepts as well. Here you can see that there's a huge area of interest. This green area is being shown as a bit of a buying block. So again, there's buying interest here. Now, the other thing that's notable is our equilibrium is right down where my current take profit is in terms of the trade that we were talking about. And this also coincides with the 200 EMA and a previous kind of wick low as well. So again, lots of support in and around this area. So we are likely to see, in my opinion, a potential quick wick down here, liquidation event, and then test up there. That's a possibility on the trend line. Alternatively, we look at that as a bit of a move to the trend line, liquidate any shorts that are currently in there, and then come down and test all that other stuff. So, I think we're going to see more volatility. That's kind of my message across pretty much most projects. Bitcoin's seen bigger swings in the market to the upside, lots of liquidations there, a few unexpected moves. XRP is holding up incredibly well. It's actually following the technical analysis a lot better than even Bitcoin is right now. So it's a lot more liquid. It's not as illiquid as Bitcoin, where we're seeing bigger swings, bigger liquidations occurring because it's an illiquid market. Here for XRP, it's more liquid, and that's why you're getting the price stability, but it is following the technical analysis even stronger than many of the other projects. So again, it's looking good. I'm not concerned over anything. Everything's looking pretty normal on the charts. Just expect more volatility is kind of the message here. As we roll this up into our daily time frame, you can see here again, this is a continuation pattern, but in the opposite direction. We are looking for that breakout to 75-85 cents, but it's going to take weeks, months to potentially get up there. We're going to be seeing, in my opinion, 51 to 52 cents, which I want to hold. If we can't hold it, we're going to lose 50 cents and go down to 47. So I want this area of 51 to 52 to hold so that we can get into that breakout situation up there on the 75 to 85 cents. We're testing the higher trend line, guys, which we know every time that we get here and we have the resistance really pushing the price down, which you're seeing on the daily chart right here. Very similar moves to what we saw over this side in later July. This is exactly what's going on, and we are likely to see a big dump in the market. Hopefully we don't go all the way down to that 47 cents, but we are kind of progressing quite nicely. We can see here that the market can't decide. We have 3 candles that are not in strong positions. They're showing us that this one of rejection, then a little bit of positivity, and right now today, more rejection. This is showing us that we are about to see a reversal in the market, in my opinion. Okay, we see these kind of candles when the market can't decide. You saw it down here. The market couldn't decide. We had the rally to the upside. Okay, we see it over here. The market can't decide. Brief push and then an absolute dump. Okay, so it's important that we understand that for the price action here with where we are, yes, we're in a continuation pattern. What led into that is a fantastic run, or was a fantastic run to the upside. Okay, and that basically is still targeting out 75 to 85 cents. I don't think that's going to change. We will eventually, in my opinion, get up to that 75 to 85 cents. It's going to take a while though, and we might in fact see more volatility and more moves in the market. I'm hoping for 51 to 52 cents to hold so that we can then get into these runs to the upside. But we'll have to see how things play out over the next little while. But ultimately, that's kind of where I think XRP is sat on the kind of small and medium time frames. We are looking for some fantastic runs to the upside, but it's just going to take a little bit of time to get there. You can let me know what your thoughts are on all of this in the comments down below, or join us in our free Discord server linked in the description. Guys, if you found it useful, smash the like button. If you're new, subscribe, and check out my second channel just up here, where I go through the Cardano technical analysis every single day.